I think I might have had a goal like that years ago playing FIFA on my Xbox. A long kick, hits someone in the butt, and it goes right in. So this is up there with that. But this was actually a reality goal. So,
welcome, Sacramento soccer fans, to the State of the Republic podcast. I'm your host, Luis, and in today's episode, we have a few things to talk about. First thing, we'll talk about yesterday's 1-1 tie at Vegas, how that game was like. And then, of course, in a few days, we have Open Cup once again, back in Sacramento this time. And we will be playing against another MLS side. First time they're playing in Sacramento, Minnesota United. So we'll talk about what their recent form looks like, what possible players might be making the trip out to Sacramento, and how that is like. Of course, we'll also bring up podcast winner dinner. Some points, not much was given out yesterday, so not too much changes in the standings, but some changes there. And then, as always, we'll end it with golazos of gratitude and anything else going on that we'll be reporting on here on State of the Republic podcast. All right, we have the full squad here tonight with us, but first, let's go over to the Thomas. I think it's been a while since we start with Rion. Let's go to Thomas with Rion. How's it going, Rion? And what's today's jersey that you got on?
I feel like you shouldn't be asking me these questions. This is a Minnesota United Northern Lights kit, you know? So I'm continuing my theme of wearing the opposition's jersey. Things are going great here in the Thomas. The weather has been a little stormy, but, you know, I love it. I don't know about the rest of y'all, but I love the rainy, stormy, moody weather. How's it? And yeah, happy to be back here talking Sacramento soccer with y'all.
Yeah, the rain is good as long as it doesn't happen on Tuesday. I'm like, just stay away from a game. It could rain before, after, but just don't rain in for 105 minutes, right? So cover the entire game. Well, maybe plus for extra time. But cool. I'm glad you had a Minnesota jersey because I know. I think was it last week you only had Austin, so good that you got the opponent this time. All right, next let's go over to Elk Grove. You can start muting now, by the way. With Sharon. How's it going, Sharon?
I turned on my microphone, so that's good. Yeah, we're trying to be better stewards of the podcast. Things are going good. Dia de la Concha Day today, and the wild weather, as much as it's okay, Rion, there's a difference between you and I. I think you're where you live. Maybe you don't have to worry so much about things flooding, like my garage, because I have all that one tree in the front. Like I have to get my driveway torn out because the way it slopes because of the trees. If it rains a ton right in front of the garage, the water comes in the garage. So. Yeah, so there's like these little nerve-wracking things that happen where I live. So when I get that much rain, Rion, it's like I can't pump it anywhere because it doesn't matter. But at the end of the day,
I live in Natomas. This neighborhood is known for flooding.
You weren't supposed to. Those homes were not even supposed to be built there. Remember back then? Oh, you were too young. You were in grade school. That's right. Hey, you got me last time. Anyhow.
How old was I?
Yeah, how old were you when they approved that whole development and it got somebody fired?
He wasn't born yet, no?
No. There was like somebody who was part of the planning and he was somebody's son. And I don't think he ended up keeping his job with the city of Sacramento because of those approvals of where you live. But they ended up building the homes anyhow. Yeah, no. So for me, it's just nerve-wracking just because there's just nowhere for the water to go. But I digress. We're talking not about water, not about food. We're going to kick it to Kilgore, Texas.
And thank you for the delay, Rain, pretty much. No, it's been, overcast. Which I certainly love the overcast, but a little bit of rain, so probably some leftovers from what y'all had over in California. I'm sure we'll get more of that soon here, but other than that, we at least secured a point. I wish it was more than that, but, we got bigger fish to fry here coming up this week, the first ever match against Minnesota United. So, once again, it's going to be Quails versus Loons, and I'm all for it.
Yeah, it would have been interesting if they would have had rain in Vegas yesterday, right? It's like I think maybe that's what the game needed, especially in that second half. Oof, yeah.
Dude, I'm just glad I didn't go to Cashman Field. You guys all know my experience last year when my sister and I went to the playoff match. It was not a fun time afterwards. It was not a fun time during the game because we lost. We got bounced out of the playoffs. But yeah, so was it? No, it wasn't last year. It was the year before.
Yeah, Mark's last game.
2024. Yep, 2024.
Oh my God, time flies. You guys, this is the year that I turn a big decade. So forgive me if I forget things here and there. You know, it just happens. But yeah, I'm just glad I wasn't there for that reason, especially because my sister wasn't going to be able to go. And so who do you have as the person that helps you like get from A to B and make sure that you're not robbed or mugged or whatever. Anyhow, that's what big sisters do.
Yeah.
Now there was a guy who was there, right? And I think Jared, you might know what his name is, right? I've seen him before, but I don't know his name. But he was on TV.
I am not sure because I know some of the folks that were going to go to Vegas for the match ended up not going, you know, because of commitments and whatnot. But I don't know. Okay. I'm not sure who was all there.
Anyhow, I'm dying to get into this kind of meh, as Rion says, we all say, game, and just see how we stacked up.
Yeah, we hope that what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, as they say, and hopefully the performance, right, stays there and doesn't travel with them, especially for Tuesday, right? We want a different game happening on Tuesday, but yeah, 1-1 tie. Games happened in the first, or I should say, goals happened in the first half, and the 20th and the 30th minute took us about 10 minutes there to respond in an interesting fashion that we score the goal. Which with VAR, I feel like that goal gets called off, in my opinion, just because of what happened there, right? Where it hits him or hits Mark Anthony Kaye. But nonetheless, I mean, as we know, it counts. I mean, it's USL. There's no VAR. And it was a much needed goal for us, right? Because I think Vegas, after they get their goal, I think they got a sort of like confidence up, right? It seemed like they had more opportunities after that. And they were like, you know what? Let's go for it. So before we look at the goals here that were scored yesterday, I want to hear your guys' thoughts. Let's go first with you, Rion. You wrote your piece on the match pretty quick yesterday, right? Which actually goes to show like the kind of match it was. You had your recap up like really quick. I was like, whoa, it's already been posted.
Okay, well, to be fair, I usually have a draft of the recap done at some point after the match. I just happen to be really pushing for this one to be done because I also have another piece coming out the next day. So, you know, that's why I'm trying to get the recap up early this week. But overall thoughts on the match, it was a match of all time. It happened. Two teams played a game of soccer. Some people scored, and yeah, that was it. No, I mean seriously, nothing really stood out to this match. There wasn't really any like fun performances in this game. You know, the one goal that Las Vegas had, I'm pretty sure Danny Video would want back. That one kind of sucked for him to have the ball slip through his hands like that. But for this match overall, you know, it's a match on the road against a team that theoretically we should be scoring more goals on, we should be putting more pressure on, but it's a game happening not in our home, and 1 point is not a bad result. But yeah, this easily could have been a win if Sacramento was really up for it, but they weren't up for it for this match. Maybe they had an eye on Minnesota in the next couple days, but yeah, just a match that happened.
Yeah, match that was scheduled that had to be played, and as much as I'm sure most of us were thinking Tuesday already, right? It's one of those things that just gets in the way, and thankfully it wasn't a long travel time, right? Quick flight there.
So one of the interesting things about Cashman Field, it's a former baseball diamond, once again, playing on a baseball diamond. It is a little size constrained, just a tiny bit. You know, we're used to the buildup that we do at Heart Health Park, and I don't think we were doing that as well as we would have had we been playing at home. That being said, the long ball creation, there's a stat for that. The long ball creation was in our favor, and there were a few other opportunities that were also in our favor. As far as all of the different stats go, like accurate crossing and all of that, there were things that we outweighed Las Vegas on, but there were things that Las Vegas outweighed us on, like they won more of their tackles and their accurate passing and chances created, passes in our half were greater. We had more touches in their box. Luis, thank you for pulling all that up. But we also shots inside the box, we had 6 versus their 4. But the one good thing, not really good thing, we got 4 yellow freaking cards. And it was like that lightweight stuff that we complain about at home that don't get called against us when people do things like this to us. We totally got homered last night in Las Vegas, with the 4 yellow cards versus 2. And one of them, yes, was deserved. I believe the very first yellow was a deserved yellow. We couldn't. Okay, tiny little complaint. Everybody who was trying to watch live was trying to use the Fox 40 stream. There were a couple things. We missed Rob McAllister tremendously. Thank you, Scott Marsh, for filling in, and Adam for kind of holding down the fort, Adam Moffat. But at the end of the day, the feed sucked, and we couldn't watch it on Fox 40, so we couldn't pick up the commentary from home, which Adam usually nails on the color commentary. He nails it, and Rob McAllister gets excited on goal. Now, there was a chat going about how our guys, when we scored in the 30-something minute, that there was no excitement from our announcers on getting our goal, our equalizer. So, and I think it was because there was massive confusion. We're going to rewatch this, and we're all going to comment about the elbow. But because their commentator on ESPN, I think Mike Watts might have been on the call, but they also had a local person. They were complaining vehemently about how the goal was scored off an elbow. That being said, Fox 40 needs to fix their shit. They were not getting a good feed. ESPN Plus working like magic. It was great. It was perfect the whole entire night. I switched over, and it worked really, really well. I missed our commentary simply for the sake of, learning, because Adam is very tied into our team, but I wasn't able to do that. Although the ESPN feed, the announcers were fairly decent, except for when our goal got scored, they were kind of winching about it. But it's like, whatever. It wasn't like he guided it in with his elbow like Handball Rising did that one year. That's what I got for you.
Yeah, no, exactly right. Like it completely different, right? I feel like it's unintentional. It just kind of just hit him in the elbow. But again, if you had VAR, I think they would have said, "Oh yeah, it still hit him there," right? But
we should have Rian pull up I think Rian's going to pull up the feed. We're going to talk about the 2 goals, the one against us and then the one we scored, right?
Yeah. Let's go ahead and that here. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about the first goal that they score against us in the 20th minute here. And as Rian mentioned earlier, I mean, it's unfortunate, right? Because I think Danny could have stopped this one. I feel like there's way too many players blocking his vision, which always makes it more difficult for any goalkeeper to get to the ball. And that's exactly what happened here, right? The Las Vegas Lights gets a clean shot over toward. Oh, thanks for moving there. Yeah, he gets a clean shot from outside the area, and yeah, I mean, he had a difficulty being able to see where the ball was going because there was a lot of players there, and just one of those unfortunate goals that the ball ends up not hitting anyone. It just goes through the space where no one happened to be in, and that's actually kind of difficult to do because usually it'll hit someone, even if it's someone from the opposition's own team, right? But to our luck, they end up scoring the goal right from a really long distance. Thoughts on this, Rian?
Yeah, apart from goals that are like off a deflection, I feel like those skipping off the field shots are like the hardest ones to read. You have to read off the bounce instead of just a flight path, and unfortunately, Danny wasn't up for it. Danny didn't like get a clean punch or like get a clean touch off the ball, and it just slips right through. Shout out from Guillen for trying that shot from that range. Oops, sorry. But I think this could have been prevented if the Republic stepped up to meet Guillen where he was. That's a lot of space given to him right outside the Republic box, and no one pressured him. No one got an angle on him, and the Republic paid for that.
So I have to add on and totally agree with that. In the coach's interview, and I know we have the interview. We'll be posting it. The last match, when asked about Dami, coach indicated that there was more he wanted out of him. And if you look at how close he was, and I used to get kind of upset in the past when players were 3 steps away and they didn't put pressure on a guy with the ball, who's the most dangerous person, especially when they're in our half and when they're in their own zone to shoot. There was no pressure. He stopped his run. So we kind of had a little bit of a broken play. I think it was Blake toe poked the ball forward. Nobody was there to receive it. Yeah, that was Blake. He toe poked the ball forward out of the reach of a Las Vegas player, and Dami was right there, and he just kind of casually didn't even, like, we've talked about how, and defenders, and Rian, you were a defender, you can do this to a player, even if you're not too close. You start breathing hard, or you make noise like you're right on them, and you can disrupt their brain. I don't think Dami did that. And I think that's the other side of the game that coach is looking for from Dami. And I have the utmost respect of Dami because he's leading in our stats, especially in the Open Cup realm. He's a good stat leader. But at the end of the day, if you're not putting pressure on the most dangerous player, the guy with the ball, that's on you.
Yeah, I think there was another factor in this as well. I mean, this is definitely a multi-pronged situation. So there's a lot of traffic in front of Danny, so that's going to be difficult for any goalkeeper. I mean, let alone the league leader in shutouts. But yeah, I mean, the progression on this, there's hardly felt like there was a lot of pressure going against Las Vegas that created opportunity, and then pretty much just set up a knuckleball type of kick. I mean, like Rian said, I mean, those are going to be more difficult because at least if it's up in the air, you have a little bit more time studying how far it is, where it's going to come from. Whereas if it's bouncing off the field, you have all sorts of physics with the grass, with the pitch there. You don't know where it's going to bounce to. So it does make it a little bit difficult there. And unfortunately, that one had gotten past Danny, and there's a lot of factors to it, unfortunately. And it seemed like Las Vegas hit on every single one of them.
Oh, my goodness. Rian is having us review some of the highlights of our turnovers.
Oh shoot. Goodness. Sorry. I'm letting this play for a second while I was looking for something.
I know. It's so funny because we're watching the whole rest of the thing, and it was like, no, we're watching this wonderful buildup, and then all of a sudden we cough up the ball. But
He's twisting the knife into our sides with making us watch these highlights.
But okay,
nobody moved. It was like our defense was like frozen in place. And so I can't wait for you to play the coaches' comments and players' comments post-match. But we shouldn't dwell. I mean, we ended up getting a point on the road out of Las Vegas, which was at the bottom dweller. But yeah.
I do want to add on, this is the second time actually maybe the third time now, that Republic just failed to put pressure on a guy and they got paid for it. We saw it with the Monterrey goal where Leggett kind of broke free and, didn't find any pressure. And then in El Paso, it was Moreno who kind of got in between a bunch of Republic players, but nobody stepped up to him. Hopefully this isn't a recurring theme for the Republic backline where there's a communication issue where somebody thinks another person's gonna mark a man, and then they don't mark the man, so the man just ends up shooting. So hopefully we've resolved this, but it's starting to become a little worrying that this is popping up time and time again.
Hey, every year we seem to have some kind of weirdo problem. Like last season, it was where we were giving up goals in the last 5 minutes, whether it was at a time or whatever. And now this year, it's like we're giving up this kind of situation. It's like, okay, we fixed the other one with concentration for 90 minutes, but let's fix this season. Let's fix. Well, this is concentration in the middle of the match, and communication. Who was it last podcast that we were talking about communication? Was that Jared Luis or Rion, or was it me? All of us.
I think it might have been a little bit of all of us, I think.
Yeah. Well, at any rate, we will get better. The team will improve. This is kind of sad. We should go and look at our goal now.
There's one more comment I wanted to make. If you can go back to the first one. I see one of our players attempting or kind of being indecisive. I'm trying to figure out who it was. When they spot the player that ends up pulling the shot.
I think it's
right there. Is that Mark Anthony K?
No, I don't think it's K.
No, that's Chrysostomo.
Down here.
That's Michelle.
Who's the guy close to the referee right there?
Oh, this guy?
No, keep playing it. Trying to see if you. No, the guy right there. The guy that's right there in the circle, where the mouse is at, right there.
This one?
No, next to it. Yeah, that guy. You could see that I think he spots the player and he's like, "Oh crap, I should go out," but he stops midway when he should have pulled that run.
Gloves on. That's Kyle. That's Kyle Edwards. Gloves.
Yeah, he should have actually pulled the run out before.
Okay, but I don't think it's on him. There's 4 other players that are closer to the man on the ball. I think Benitez over here made a couple steps forward, and then he saw maybe Dami closing in, and then he backed off, and then Dami also backed off, and then it's like, what? Nobody actually stepped up here.
Right, and Arturo's even right there. Arturo flattened out. Arturo, the 10, he just flattens out. He shouldn't have been flattening out. There were plenty of defenders behind their attackers, their 2 attackers there. And Arturo flattened out, so he should have stepped. So between Dami and Arturo, they should have stepped. And Kyle Edwards has unless we just got done with the set piece, he has no business being that deep. That's Mark Anthony K's job. Kyle Edwards should have been up top.
Yeah, right. That's what I was also thinking. I was like, wait, what's Kyle? I think that's why people were bumping into each other, right? It's like, well, if he's back there.
Oh, yeah. It was off the back of a corner kick.
Oh, okay, did that part? Oh, okay, then that explains a little bit more about what happened there. Because
at any rate,
I feel like we should have. Yeah.
You realize that the guys with the iPads are going to be throwing the analytics at our guys. Well, they probably already did it. That was probably coaches' meeting this morning or even last night, because they really only have Monday, unless they trained light training today. They have Monday to get themselves sorted out and do a walkthrough, because Tuesday's game day. I mean, what a fast turnaround that is. But let's look at our goal, the goal we scored. I'm tired of this. Let's go to our goal.
Yeah, let's go take a look at our goal. Definitely one of those for the weird goal collections. Because again, pretty much play starts out here with, I believe the one that ends up pulling the shot is Kyle Edwards, right? He's the one who ends up, I guess, assisting, right? Is what they ended up calling it.
Yeah.
He pulls the shot, ends up hitting Mark Anthony K in his elbow because Mark Anthony was trying to get out of the play, and that's what ends up scoring the goal is his elbow.
Hey, you got to give credit to Mark Anthony K for continuing the run into the box. Mm-hmm. You know, there was a good sequence going on right here. And I wish Dami could have gotten the assist. I really do, because I picked him. I was the only one that picked Dami as the assist. And I was all excited. I was like, oh, I can finally get a few more points. Because Dami made this beautiful run in open space. They did not have him on the books. And then, Kyle does Kyle, And thank you, Mark Anthony, for continuing the run to kind of block the visual of the goalkeeper. Because look where he ran in front of. He ran right to the keeper to kind of block his view, which is, hey, thanks, lovely, which was fortuitous for us in case, Kyle Edward missed, whatever it turned out. But darn it, I really wanted Dami to get the assist.
Man, that just looks like some sort of a FIFA, well, I guess EAFC goal right there nowadays. I mean, with that kick just happened to hit somebody, and then the recipient of that hit gets credit for the goal. I mean, I think I might have had a goal like that years ago playing FIFA on my Xbox. A long kick, hits someone in the butt, and it goes right in. So this is up there with that, but this was actually a reality goal. So either way, it's a goal for us. I'll take it any day, twice on Sunday.
I do want to give credit to Mark Anthony K for that initial pass into the box, because he feints that he's going to go out to the wing instead of going down the line, which draws his defender out and opens up that channel for Vonner to make that run. Just great play overall for this goal. Little lucky to get the bounce, but it's sometimes better to be lucky than good.
Yeah, he deserved it for sure. I mean, being the one that starts the play there, and I'm actually surprised that Dom was so open, right? No one was marking him. He had so much space there, and you can't give that guy space. Any team who gives him space, they're gonna see a goal against for sure. So
interesting, Rion, that you said it's better sometimes to be lucky than good. In Quail City's most recent podcast, they talked about That's so funny. They talked about lucky, but it was prior to us getting 2 more matches under our belt. They recorded it before some blowouts, but it still holds true, that sort of thing. So a little nod to Quail City of, about that topic.
Yeah.
Anyhow. So we all tied up. We're all tied up, but we still had work to do. We still had to defend and try to still get a goal. But after we tied the game, it almost felt like we just sort of hung in there. Is that what anybody else felt with respect to this match, that we just kind of hung in there?
Yeah,
I know it's 2,000 feet. I tried to give them an excuse. It's at 2,000 feet, which is elevation. Our guys are not used to that. So I don't know. Were we just tired?
No.
Well, if the squad wasn't tired, I certainly was, thanks to Vista World Link. But that's old hat. But no, I mean, it seemed like the second half really didn't see a whole lot of progression. I mean, I was seeing a whole lot of Chuckle Brothers set, to me, to you, to me, to you. And really, it was kind of an uneventful second half.
Yeah, almost like the team was trying to be careful not to get injured to be playing on Tuesday, right? It's like, hey, you know what? Let's not be too offensive, right? Let's take a break here because we're going to be playing in a few days, right? Which is crazy when you play from Saturday to Tuesday. And I mean, a lot of these guys are going to be in the starting lineup. I got a feeling, right? Of course, Danny will be there for sure. Our defenders, I think most of them will be there for sure. And a few other guys, right? I mean, Kyle might be in the bench. I'm assuming that's why he started this match. But Dom is probably going to be starting the match. Arturo, Memo, right? Yeah, it's I could see, or not Memo. No, he's not ready yet, right?
Yeah. So you've got Arturo, you got Michelle. Michelle will never not want to start. He will do everything in his power to play the match. I swear, Michelle Benitez is hardcore. And I think Danny Crisostomo was the same way. They're kind of cut from the same fabric. And, I know Arturo would always want to be on the field. I know Dami is going to want to be on the field. But I don't know. Do we want to pull up any of the... now that we're kind of done talking about this, the score, obviously everybody knows it stayed 1-1. Nothing else happened except we got a bunch of yellow cards, but whatever. I mean, we could look at individual player stats. I know I kind of wanted to do that, but at this point, does it serve when we really want to look ahead and kind of see how we match up against Minnesota United? They're, who are they going to start? We talked about this off feed. So I don't know. What are you guys what do you want to hit?
I'm excited to dive into Minnesota.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, let's go ahead and take a look at before we take a look at them. As I was just mentioning right now, right, with the guys who started yesterday. I guess let's make it easier because there'll probably be a big list here. But which of these guys are going to be on the bench out of the 11? I feel like it might only be a really select few, right, that won't actually start the match.
Well, it depends on how healthy Mark-Anthony Kaye is. Now, I'm going to repeat what I said off pod, and that is when Mark-Anthony Kaye comes off at halftime, I don't know if they're saving him for the big Minnesota United match or if he got injured, because that's typically not a Mark-Anthony Kaye thing. He doesn't not want to play. He always wants to play. So that's a question mark, and it's not up. It's up to him and his health is my guess. So that's a question mark for me because I always want him on now that I know his style, right? Blake Willie will most likely be on, is my guess. I would say that Edwards might be the only rotated player. Mm-hmm. Honestly, if you look at this lineup, this has been a really strong lineup. We may see Cambridge somewhere in there, not 100% sure. He was kind of golden against Valley 559. But at the end of the day, you've got Essel, who's a big player. There's not much you would rotate here except for Edwards. I would put a Jago in for Edwards and Malongo maybe for Vonner to start. But Vonner will come on. Vonner will play.
Yeah, although I probably would have him start. I would just say maybe he should have. Well, yeah, he got subbed out at the 70th minute. Maybe he could start.
Malongo, because initially they weren't starting Vonner. They were starting Malongo and Ajago the first couple matches. Remember league matches? It was Malongo and Ajago. And they worked well together because Malongo is freaking fast, right? Mm-hmm. And so he blazes up the left side. But I don't know how Minnesota United, I don't know how they stack up on their right side against our left side attack, as to whether they can stand up against Malongo and Ajago, that duo. Mm-hmm. So what do you guys think? Do we want to look at Minnesota United?
I mean, might want to get folks a little familiar, even though it's only going to be just a one match. Wouldn't be a bad idea to at least have a rough idea who we're up against. I mean, as far as our roster, I mean, there may be some that do play on Tuesday that did play Saturday, given the fact that there's going to be a week of rest. So it's a little difficult to judge who all is going to be starting on Tuesday. But, Minnesota, I mean, I would love to have at least a little bit of a scouting report to know what we're dealing with.
Yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at Minnesota here and see what players.
That brings me to Rion, who's been biting his tongue because now he just unleash the Kraken, Rion. Unleash the Kraken. Come on.
I've been watching footage of Minnesota United. I've been watching their past couple matches to get an idea of how they like to play and what their style is. So, okay, I'm gonna preface this. I do have a written version of a scouting report coming up on Monday. So if you want to read a written version of this, you can. But firstly, James Rodriguez, big Colombian, the superstar kind of name on this roster, I doubt will be playing in this match. He's only played 39 minutes for Minnesota United so far this season, and I doubt we'll be seeing him in Sacramento, even though that'll be super fun to see him play. For the rest of the lineup, they play in a 3-4-3, on the ball, 5-4-1 off the ball. We saw that with Valley 559. They like to pack the midfield. They'll sit in the mid block. They will try and force counterattacks. Really quick, really direct, really hard hitting counterattacks. That's how they want to play, which will be tough because Yeboah, their striker, is probably one of the fastest strikers in the MLS, one of the fastest players in general. So he'll be hard to keep an eye on. Pereira, their right winger, is their creator. Look for him to cut back onto his left foot and launch long balls over the top to like Marcanic, brother to Nick Marcanic, former star player for the Charleston Battery, now with the Houston Dynamo. Marcanic, one of the highest goal scoring defenders in the world. 13 goals scored for him last season for Minnesota. This team is a very direct team. They'll take every opportunity off of set pieces, off of dead balls, off of throw-ins, and try and make an opportunity off of it. Look for them to do long throws. Look for Calendar or whoever their keeper is to come up to midfield and launch long free kicks into the box. They have a variety of weapons to throw at you, and they were going to try and break you down really fast. Off the bench, Mamadou Dieng, the former Hartford striker, former Hartford's all-time leading goal scorer. I expect him to make an appearance for this match. Maybe he'll be the starter, but that's another weapon for them right off the bench. Who else is there? Triantis can shoot from range. Who else is there? Chankala is a good dribbler off the left, so that's gonna be a hard duel for anybody on the Republic right. Yeah, just a very direct team, and they will try and score really quick on you.
Yeah, but the question mark here will be like who we're gonna see, right? Like I think we saw on the screen, and you mentioned a few of the starters, right, from yesterday's like 2-1 win against San Diego.
Yeah, they've been playing their regular lineup recently. So they played their regular lineup against Galaxy and their regular lineup against San Diego this past weekend. So I'm curious to see how much of a rotation will they bring out. But if everyone's healthy, why not shove everybody into the Open Cup?
Yeah. I don't know. I have my doubts just because MLS teams tend to overlook it, right? And just kind of brush it aside. And especially since they have 2 consecutive wins, it might be like, hey, focus on MLS. Although it would be cool to see Calendar, for those of you who don't know, right? Sacramento native goalkeeper. Never played for Sac Republic, but I mean, always cool to see someone who's from the area playing for the opposition, right? Especially when it's an MLS squad. So
I'm gonna counter that a little bit. This is Minnesota's probably best chance at silverware this season for them. They're 9th in the Western Conference right now. They're not a standout MLS team. So if they can go on a deep run, they might just say this is the priority and we want some silver, and Open Cup is the best chance for them.
And I have a tendency to agree with that. I think MLS teams are now taking the Open Cup a little bit more seriously, hence 16 teams joining Open Cup this season versus, whatever it was last year. So I have a feeling Minnesota United is not going to hold back anything against us. I hope they overlook us. I hope they think, oh, it's just it's just a USL. It's a second division team, blah, 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 and we're playing in their home and, eye rolls galore. But everybody get your tickets because there's still quite a few seats available at Heart Health Park. So you got to come out and watch this. And Rian, are you going to try to be there live? Because it's not going to be raining.
I'm wanna be there. I do want to be there. It just depends on when I can get off from work, but I will do my best to be there.
Let me know if you need Dr. Anderson to call your boss and, confirm your appointment with me.
Here's the thing. I do still want the money, though.
Oh.
We just gotta tell him he needs a backiotomy and he has to have it on Tuesday evening.
And that he needs more money. He needs to make a bigger salary.
If you want to make a case for me getting a $20-$50 raise, I'll take that. Sure, yeah. Let's go for that.
Hey, I think you're valuable.
$100 raise. Let's go $500 raise. Why not? Let's go for a full $1,000 raise. Sure, why not? Let's go for that.
Full $1,000 a week raise.
No. Per second.
Per second. Okay. Luis, we've got to figure out how to monetize the podcast so we can reimburse at least Rayon. Because I certainly, I'm fine.
Well, we could start a little campaign with that. So go ahead and clip that, and we're gonna share it around and see what we can get you. Maybe do some hashtags and see if word can get out to them that you need to get paid more. It needs to happen soon though, because the game's on Tuesday. So make it happen.
Yeah. Anyhow, that being said, thank you so much for sharing your insights about Minnesota United. I was waiting for that because I knew you'd been studying up and keeping an eye on them. This is the one time I am thankful we are not playing San Jose because they're freaking brilliant right now. They're at the top of the table in their conference. They're beating teams they have no business beating, but now maybe they do. And their next opponent is LAFC after Phoenix.
Oh, that one's gonna be good.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if Phoenix is going to be up for the job. I mean, granted, they beat New Mexico United 3-0 this weekend, but it is San Jose, and yeah, I'm not holding out much hope that we're going to avoid San Jose this time. So I'm thinking if we take out Minnesota, then yeah, it's going to be the Quakes afterwards.
Yeah, another trip down to San Jose because of course it's already been pre-selected, and yeah, I mean we'll see what happens with that, but I think Phoenix is gonna be lucky to not leave that match with maybe 3 goals against at least, right, or a differential of 3. But hopefully we're wrong. I mean, hopefully Phoenix ends up pulling a surprise, and we get to see him back if we both advance in Sacramento, which would be great.
Yeah, we know Amtrak's rooting for San Jose, all right.
No, right. Real quick, let's take a look at what their recent form is like. So last week on the podcast, we talked about Minnesota taking a little California tour of sorts, right? It all just kind of happened to happen at the same time. So yesterday they beat San Diego 2-1. Now San Diego did get a red card, which I was a little surprised they didn't actually score more on them. But again, 2-1, and against the San Diego, which we know is not an easy team to play against, right? I mean, they've been doing pretty well ever since they just joined the league. And then before that, the week before, they beat LA Galaxy 2-1 at LA. So 2-1 results against the 2 Southern California teams. We'll see how they do when they play LAFC, which I think will be a much different story for them. But that's that. And then before that, they tied at home 0-0 against Seattle, which, again, another team that is never an easy team to play against. So that's the recent form. So they have some pretty good motivation because they've been 2 teams in California, and they're going to try and make it a third on Tuesday, which would be crazy, right? To think that in April they could have potentially been 3 teams, and especially having to travel out here. So we need to make sure we let them know that they can get the win in Sacramento on Tuesday.
So, Luis, I know you're going to be at the match. Rayon's going to try to be at the match. We've got to be loud, as fans. And, we always encourage people, get the tickets, go to the game. This would be a great game. It's not going to rain, or there's no prediction of rain at all in Tuesday's future. We just got to come, sneak in your cowbells. Well, they're kind of my little cowbells, no problem. But, got to come full voice. Got to show Minnesota United what it's like to play in Sacramento.
Oh yeah, and the team will probably be doing some sort of giveaway, like they usually surprises match day, right? Where they're like, "Oh, first 1,000," might even be a rally towel of sorts, because tends to be a popular item, I think, in the Open Cup. So get there early if you want to get something, because there will probably be something being given out during the match there.
And based on what we've done so far in the U.S. Open Cup, there'll be those really fun stickers. I don't know if we're going to advance after this match, but at least there'll be some stickers from the prior that talk about Valley 559 and El Farolito, we'll have those stickers available for fun.
Oh yeah. The Dream Killers one, right? That we talked about last week.
Yeah.
So yeah, those will be there, and also the game day video will also be happening as the last 2 Open Cup games happen. So be on the lookout for that. We'll be recording that. It'll once again be featuring my uncle Freddie and myself. So check it out. With the not so long walk, by the way. I know the the last one it was a trek going from the parking to the actual stadium. Over here we'll keep it brief and we go into Hartwell Park. So yeah, so that's Tuesday. And again, as Sharon said, get those tickets ASAP. It's expected to sell out like usually matches against MLS teams do. So get them soon if you want to get a good view there. So and try and get there early, by the way, because the parking lot's probably going to be a disaster because it's probably going to be full really quick. So that's that. Brief mention, and again, this is just something I heard, right? And shout out to Morning Kick Around because I've been listening and watching to their podcast quite a bit, and they do a great job. So just kudos to them. But they brought up a question, right? Which we kind of mentioned it here on the pod or on our group chat before, and we're curious, listeners, viewers, what you guys might think. But rumor has it, right, that there's issues going on with Vancouver Whitecaps and MLS, right? And they're trying to figure out what'll be going on. And so the question that's been floating around is how would Sacramento fans feel like if the Whitecaps team would end up moving to Sacramento, right? Obviously not under Sacramento Whitecaps name, but as in we get MLS because of that. So I'm curious to hear what your guys' feeling is on that if that were to happen, which, I mean, I guess if that ends up being true, then I mean, we're getting a new stadium, so there is a possibility that they turn around and see us.
So we've talked about this, and we did talk about this, I think, already. Maybe it's all only in our chat. There is a theme from some of the supporters that we don't want to do Vancouver dirty, because Vancouver supporters reached out to us immediately and said, please create a stink, say you don't want it, because we want to keep our MLS team right here. Their squad is for sale. I mean, not squad, but their club, the franchise, is for sale. And so that's open to anybody who wants to buy it. They want to keep it there, just like we wanted to keep the Kings here. And, we prevailed. So they're going to have to do a really good grassroots effort because it's a small market. Let's face it. Some people are on the fence about, well, they should just go play. If they want to keep a team, a pro soccer team, they should just play in the Canadian Football League or whatever it's called. Rihanna, I know you know what the
Canadian Premier League.
Yeah. So it's like, why don't they just do that? I am on the fence about anything because it's not up to me. It is going to be up to the tribe. They're the owners. They have mentioned the words MLS. They have not mentioned much about going Division I with USL. But again, all that remains to be seen. We have yet to see how our ownership group throws their weight around within it, USL. We don't know what we don't know yet. So it'd be great if somebody could dig through some of that and figure it out, because there's also Las Vegas is on the table for a franchisee, for that name has come up also for the MLS franchise.
Yeah, I am totally against this. I mean, we've already snagged one Vancouver franchise in the past, with the team that would later become the River Cats back in 2000. Granted, they ended up turning great, but Vancouver loves their team. They deserve to stay in Vancouver, keep them in British Columbia. I mean, if they ultimately do have to relocate, relocate within Canada, because Canada is an underrepresented market in a lot of North American sports leagues. I mean, yes, there is a Canadian Premier League, but that only goes so far. I mean, if they have to leave Vancouver, bring them to, I don't know, maybe Edmonton or Calgary or maybe Saskatchewan, but we do not want the Whitecaps. We want them to stay there, because if the Whitecaps end up relocating to Sacramento, that puts Republic FC in a large shadow. You're going to have a lot of casual fans decide, well, why do I want to deal with Republic FC when I've got MLS right here? I'll go to them instead. And that's just, it could end up being the death of Republic FC. I mean, we've seen that happen with San Diego, and nobody wants a repeat of that. I mean, San Diego Loyal FC, they were a great franchise, great fans, great people, everything like that. But then once San Diego got the MLS product, they shoved them by the wayside. So I really do not want the Whitecaps moving, first of all. And if they do move, I do not want them in Sacramento, because it's a death knoll waiting to happen. I mean, that's my opinion, but it's happened before in other cities.
No, but we remember when we said no Republic, no party when we were going to get MLS. And I think Kevin Nagel heard that one loud and clear. And he basically said, it will be Republic. It will be Sacramento Republic. We're just going to be playing MLS. So remember that, Jared. No Republic, no party. We just start that all over again if the team does earn the franchise from MLS. It's just no Republic, no party. We would not continue in the USL is what we would not continue doing. We would simply just rebrand as an MLS squad known as Sacramento Republic.
Yeah. And we would lose our community status because now, if Republic FC does move up to MLS, all the times where you see the players hanging out, signing autographs, and being close.
Not true. You look at San Jose; they are grounded. They are intimate with the fans. So it just depends on how they're taught. I think people fear too much the MLS, and they use your argument that you just mentioned. That argument is used all the time. You look at San Jose, they're very community-based. Their players are in the community. They're still doing all the touchy-feely. They still go up to the ultras. They still come. They still make their rounds. So, and that's San Jose. Sacramento's even better at that. We're better at that.
Yeah, let's just hope we can keep the beers under $20 if we make the move.
So you bring up the new ownership group, it's not going to be Cal Expo. So it's not like there's a secondary person that is making extra money beyond the rent that we're paying them. That all goes away. So, it'll probably be about the same price. Now the tickets prices doesn't matter if we're MLS or USL First Division. Ticket prices are going to go up. We know that. There's going to be some changes. So that's what comes with a new stadium. There's going to be changes, and a lot of folks don't want the change, but we don't want to be at Heart Health Park anymore. So it's kind of like, I think we roll with it. I know Rion had his hand up for the longest time. Kept seeing you unmute and unmute and mute and unmute. So I'm going to shut up. Rion, go.
Yeah. Okay. So first, I just want to say I'm against moving to MLS. I'm against MLS in general after the whole, debacle of the expansion party and all that. So the USL show touched on this, and so did Quail City Soccer. But there are a couple signs in that the ownership group might be hinting towards MLS, in that they haven't mentioned USL Premier in any of their stadium announcements. It's been kind of vague, but from a business standpoint, MLS is the surer product. They have they're established. They have everything going for them. Whereas USL Premier is still, it's still an untested. We're still trying to figure it out. There's stuff happening in the background. It makes sense from a business perspective to try and aim for MLS. In the way in doing so, though, I don't want it. If Republic do make that move, I don't want it to be coming at a cost to another city like Vancouver, who has put in the time, put in the energy, put in the effort to develop that club. If Vancouver loses their team, that's a loss to soccer in general. That's a loss to that area of soccer, Cascadia region. You lose out the rivalry to Portland, you lose out the rivalry to Seattle. There's a lot of great teams in that region. There's a lot of great players in that region that deserve a chance to shine. And Vancouver is one of those areas where you can show that. And we've seen it with the Kings. We've seen it with a bunch of cities all over American sports where deserving cities lose their teams, and it's always sad to see it. And I don't want us to be doing that pain to Vancouver. If we do go to MLS, it should be just for us. It should be just from our franchise and not at a cost to anybody else. And yeah, but in general, I don't want to move to MLS in general. That's overarching kind of thing. But yeah. But also in terms of the community aspect, I do also want to bring up Portland Timbers. They're also a great community team. Columbus Crew, also amazing. You know, there is a good community aspect to some of these MLS sites, but Sacramento has built up that tradition, and if we do move wherever we do, we should still keep that tradition.
So how do you feel, Burned Rion, about, is it the Garber thing, having a MLS franchise awarded to us and then ripped away? Is that
that still stings a little bit, having the whole, oh yeah, MLS, it's a matter of if, not what whatever that quote was from Garber or whatever.
Right.
But, that all that hype up, and then having city after city, Austin, who else? Like St. Louis, Charlotte, Nashville, San Diego, all of those cities come in later than us, pass us up, and then the expansion fee gets higher, and then blah, 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 blah. The bar is higher, and blah, 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 blah. More money needs blah, 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 blah. Yeah, MLS is a money-making machine. They know what they're doing. But, yeah, it just sucks. It just sucked to watch.
So couldn't we kind of turn this back on Burkle and the fact that we never got him to sign a contract?
Yes.
Could it be a little bit on that as well? Because we never had
100%.
we never had the whale, and there was a lot of discussion behind the scenes. Kevin Nagel was responsible for us not getting a whale. We had Meg Whitman. We had this person, and they just didn't want to, So, and then we came up with No Republic, No Party, and, an ownership group, unless they're brave like the Tribe, the Tribe is going to do what the Tribe is going to do. But if we win MLS, would you stop supporting Sacramento Republic if they were called Sacramento Republic?
No, I'd still support the team.
Okay, it's just hard for you to get over
all the stuff that it took to get there is still a little bit mind-boggling in my mind.
So I was working for the club when all that shit was going down. I was actually working for the club. So my emotions were magnified because I was on the stage when Garber was in town, and they made the big announcement that one evening, and it was like fabulous. And then attending all the events, and then I wasn't working for the club when we had that big event down at the bank, and it felt like the upstairs floor was going to collapse. Where they had the huge announcement, and then the rally in Capitol Mall. It was, it was an intense feeling. And then to have it absolutely go nowhere because Burkle just said, I'm going to go buy Neverland or whatever. What is that called? Neverland?
Neverland Ranch. Yep.
Yeah. I'm going to buy that instead, and I don't know what's happened down there. But at the end of the day, we were not successful in getting an ownership group that had deep pockets until last year. And now we have an ownership group that's willing to do things, whether it's Premier, USL Premier Division or whatever. So the doors are open. And I think if we're going to continue, here's where I think our support needs to be. Our favorite players, we need to make sure that we get to still see them play. And we need to be behind them, moving no matter where we go, whether it's Division 1 or MLS. We need to support the players and the brand that we have come to love. because otherwise it's just we're going to be along for the ride anyhow because we don't have a say.
I just want to say one more thing. I know it kind of got lost in the weeds, but we were supposed to get an NWSL franchise, and we lost that too. We were supposed to get an NWSL franchise, and that moved to San Diego, and I'm still salty about that.
And I'm salty about that. I am salty about that. That was sad, but that was good. That was the Burkle. I mean, that was the Burkle connection. It was going to be, the fall away money, and we actually had hired the coach, right? We had actually brought her on. And she's no longer part of San Diego, but at any rate,
Thanks a lot, Burkle. You chose between play MLS and NWSL, and you chose play with the Elephant Man's bones. We know which one went out. Thanks a lot.
I just want to be concise a little bit. Burkle sucked. That part sucked, but also the constant carrot dangling in front of our faces, also sucked from the MLS. A lot of that sucked. Yeah, that was it. Yeah. That's all.
I think a lot of people share that same sentiment, right? I mean, MLS did so much to us, but at the end of the day, we're going to be there supporting the team. Maybe we might still talk on MLS, even if we aren't a part of their league, right? And still say, oh, this and that and that and that. But at the end of the day, like you said, Sharon, if the name of the team is Sacramento Republic, we're going to keep supporting the brand. Hopefully they don't really change the logo too much because they've already changed it. I'll find the original one more, but keep it. Don't change that identity.
Yeah,
it's there. But at the end of the day, though, you guys talked about Vancouver. I think Vancouver needs to fix their situation internally because that's not Sacramento's issue, right? If this ends up happening, we're not the ones to blame. I can see why their fans are trying to create a movement with Sacramento fans, but that's a situation with them and their city and their stadium thing, right? Like that's something they need to figure out, and that's
who needs to buy the largest. So if you look at what the commerce is around Vancouver, it's tourism and fishing, timber, all of those things. So they need to get a conglomeration of deep pockets. Whether it's the timber industry, the tourism industry, get a cruise ship. Princess Cruises or some other entity to be the owner to buy, and the club's for sale. Have somebody in the region that even tribes. I don't know do they have gaming tribes in Canada? I mean, it doesn't matter, but
they could always go to Las Vegas for a lights route, at least for sponsorship.
Well, there you go. To make a long story short, you're right, Luis. Vancouver needs to solve their problem. They need to get an ownership group that wants to keep it there and buy the club.
Yeah, I mean that's their easy path. So I would say to their fans, put pressure on your own team to find that, right? Don't look at Sacramento. If Sacramento gets it, I mean, it's like if a home's for sale, right? I mean, obviously people are trying to purchase it, and you can't blame them. It's there. The league is like, hey, here's a spot. Like, it's just there. So there you have it. All right. Well, enough delaying this. I know we have to talk about it, but let's go ahead and see how things went for podcast winner dinner this week. Not that many points were handed out, as I mentioned at the beginning of the podcast here, but we have a week ahead of us that will actually deliver or potentially deliver a lot of points with the Open Cup, as is always the case there with the Open Cup. All right, so game against Las Vegas. If we would have scored one goal, I know I was looking at the group chat. I could have gotten those bonus 2 points for 2 weeks in a row, but no, game ended 1-1, so I didn't get a point there. So the only points delivered were for the first yellow card. So Sharon and Rian were the ones to say Sacramento. They both get a point there. So standings right now are as follows. I'm still leading the way with 12 points. Sharon and Rian is still tied for second with 10 points, and Jared is in the basement still with 7 points. And he got his blanket too. He was telling us. So Jared has this. What, FC Tucson blanket? Oh yeah, FC Tucson. So yeah, at least you're keeping warm, Jared. At least that's going on. But yeah. All right. Well, we're only going to predict for Open Cup match because Brooklyn is the following week, and it's not till Tuesday of the following week. So we'll take care of that in the next episode. So let's go ahead and give our predictions for the game on Tuesday against Minnesota. Again, as a reminder to everyone listening, in addition to final score, we predict 2 goal scorers. It could be in any order. First assist with no backup, first yellow card, first Sac Republic player to get a yellow card. We say yes or no to extra time, which this one's going to be a really interesting one this week. And then if extra time does happen, then the penalty kick, yes or no, extra point kicks into effect. So that is that. All right. Now to figure out who goes first. You know what, Jared, you want to go first? I feel like it's been a while.
Let's see. Well, this is definitely going to be uncharted territory for Republic FC playing against the Loons, first time ever. But, I am going to be a little conservative on the score, so I'm going to say 2-1. Republic edges out. Let's see. My first goal choice is going to be Ajago. He sees some minutes there. Second option is going to be Dominic Bonner. Let's see. So next we have assists, correct?
Yeah.
All right. So I am going to say Blake Willie gets the assist. And then let's see. So yellow card. I'm going to say Minnesota ends up getting it, although I know it's going to bite me in the backside. And then let's see. First of our players, I am going to say probably Malongo if he ends up starting. But for some reason, they'll get him on something. Then let's see. So extra time. I am going to say no extra time, but if we do end up going extra time, I say we do get it in PKs.
We went in PKs? Or sorry, no. It's a yes or no to PKs if penalty kicks happen. Yeah.
Okay. I would say yes for PKs. I would rather not go to extra time, because we've already dealt enough with that. But I mean, if we do go to PKs, then yes.
Yeah, for the sake of our cardiac health, don't make it go to extra time, unless it means that we tied last minute, of course. Then, for which we do want extra time. All right, Sharon, you can go next, and then I'll go, and then Bjorn, you can go after.
So the score that I have is because we go to PK. So it's a 1-1 at the end of regulation. And my scorers are going to be Ajago and Malongo. And my assist is going to be Dami. And if we had a backup, it would be K. Do we get backups?
Not an open cup, no. That's only the...
Guys, freaking A. All right. First yellow is Sacramento, and it's going to be Freddie, although I really wanted to put in Essel because I think he's going to play balls to the ball. But we're going to be making a lot of those jersey tugs and professional fouls. So I got Freddie on mine. Yes, we go to extra time. I think we're going to try really hard. And PKs, yes, but we lose.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah. So I don't know how you predict a score that way, but whatever.
Yeah, no, that's that's different. But no, yeah, it's PKs, yes or no, regardless of who ends up being the winner there. So we got 2 on there. All right. As for me, I'm gonna go with the 2-2 tie for this one. I mean, yes, it goes to extra time. For the 2 goal scorers, I'm gonna go with Malongo, and then with let's see here. I'm gonna go with Dom as well. And then for the first assist, I'm going to go with Benitez. The first yellow card, I'm going to go with Sac. For the player to get the first yellow card, I'm going to go with Lee Desmond. And then for the, let's see, we had yes or no to extra time. I think I say yes for extra time. And then for penalty kicks, yes or no. I'm going to say no to penalty kicks. I think it gets decided in extra time. Rian.
So wait a minute. Then you have to pick a score that's not a tie. Because I picked penalty kicks to break the tie. You can't be tied at the end of extra time.
Well, this is just like us predicting, even if the prediction doesn't match. So if you could have a different result, then yeah, I mean, it could end up affecting you, right? But it's almost like you risk it.
All right.
Yeah. It's a risk, yeah.
Alrighty, for my picks, as much as I believe in Sacramento winning, as much I want Sacramento to win, I'm gonna say Minnesota 2-1. Their defenders can get a little ball watchy at times. I think Sacramento can take advantage of that, but I'm trying. These are the picks that kind of win you a contest here. You got to go against the grain a little bit. For my goal scorers, I'm gonna go with Ajago and Bonner. I'm kind of hoping Arturo plays. I was deciding between either him or Cambridge, but I'm gonna go with Arturo as my assist. I think Sack will get the first yellow, and it will be Benitez. Kind of just riding Benitez's yellow card streak a little bit. I think Sacramento can and will drag it to extra time. I don't think we're gonna see penalty kicks. I think someone will find a winner in extra time.
Because I just scared my cat. Because you picked Minnesota to win, and so they're winning. Logic follows. They're getting their second goal in extra time. If I follow your logic of your predictions, Luis made no sense.
Luis might just be hedging his bets a little bit. Just trying to.
How can it be 2-2, but no PKs?
Well, it's a risk I'm taking. So if it ends up being like 1-1 tie or something, right? Then and it ends up being no PKs and we lose 2-1, then I still get my point, right?
You still get the goal. Yeah, the prediction.
It's a risk. Yeah, sometimes you have to take especially in the Open Cup when there's a lot of points. It's a little risky there, but yeah, I mean, we have different predictions. Jared's going to be the only one celebrating if Minnesota does get that first yellow card, because there will be, as we know, right, points are given in yellow cards, and when we guess opposites, we know, yeah, someone's going to get a point out of this, even if it's just one.
I'll put it this way: if somehow I end up getting more than 2 points on this, I'm grilling me up a Juicy Lucy burger in honor of Minnesota losing, if that happens.
It's funny because I really wanted to. I want to be on Jared's side, but logically, again, I'm Rion. I actually was going to predict a 2-0 loss, especially based on what Rion said about Minnesota United. But I had already written everything down before Rion's analysis. So what are you going to do?
Yeah. Well, Jared, there's a possibility you might get 2 points. Minnesota gets a yellow card first, and then the score ends up finishing before extra time. You get 2 points. You're the one who said no to extra time. So both of those things.
I can only hope, but it'll just be another remix of the fix, saved by zero. Because ain't nothing gonna happen on my side.
I don't know. I wouldn't be too sure about that. We'll clip that next week if the standings change a lot. Because keep in mind, 2 points would put you one away from Sharon and Rion. So you never know. And if you get the right score, then you only go up from there. So anything can happen. All right. Well, we'll see how things go in literally less than 2 days from now. It's crazy to think, right? Less than 2 days. Well, we're going to be at the game. And yeah, less than 48 hours, we're going to be at the game. The game's almost going to be over.
Yeah. We'll pretty much know by now if we're going to extra time.
Yeah. So
we'll see.
We'll see what happens there. But all right. Well, let's go ahead and get right to goals of gratitude, and then we'll close out tonight's episode.
Hey, I just, it is what it is. I don't even have glosses of gratitude. I'm just thankful that somebody showed up at the Tower Bridge Battalion watch party and also at the Sac Republic watch party last night. It was raining cats and dogs. There's no way I'm driving at night. So thank you to the people who ran both those parties and for people who actually showed up at those watch parties. Yay, team.
Okay. Yeah, so some glosses for me. Just there's this multimedia kind of story that was put out by SB Nation years ago, called 17,776. I think that's how I don't know. It's a list of numbers, but the opening line to the story was April 7th, 2026, blah, 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 blah. So yeah, it's a great story. Y'all should check it out. Shout out to John Boy of SB Nation for putting that out there. And also one more glossa to just Minecraft. It's a great game. You know, my friends and I started a server and I've been spending a lot of time on it. So yeah, just a fun game, Minecraft. You know, that's all I have this week. Jared, any glosses for you?
Just glosses of gratitude going out to Whataburger, you know, for a couple coupons I had. You know, they helped out to, you know, fill the stomach, you know, in between the move from one building to another at work to just plain staying out of the rain here. And also, once again, to TBB for holding it down for the watch party out there, as well as the staffers with the Sacramento Republic with that watch party. I know it wasn't exactly great weather to watch a game in, but you know, better there than the Vista WorldLink truck, who I'm sure they were having a lovely time once again. But other than that, you know, just a big thank you to all our listeners once again for tuning in, keeping us going. You know, we love to hear feedback from you, you know, both good and constructive. That's what I've got for this week. Luis?
Yeah, I just have three. First one, gloss gratitude out to my girlfriend for actually getting me some Dutch here to get energized for the podcast episode. And then another one goes out to Sharon for actually buying me a Concha keychain, which she sent me a message earlier and responded about an hour afterwards, but she ended up picking out the one that I would have picked out. So gloss of gratitude out to you, Sharon. And then one more actually goes out to all the people that helped us get to 100 subscribers on YouTube, especially that 100 subscriber, which you know who you are, whoever you are out there. You managed to like help us get to 100. So if you haven't subscribed yet, please help us keep going. I mean, we're always gonna have more goals with that. The next goal, I would say 250 is the milestone for the next one. So we're at 100 now. Help us get there. Again, we're going to keep posting more videos outside of the episodes, and these game day videos are a thing there. So be on the lookout on Tuesday, because I'm going to have my phone as usual, the little tiny microphones that you guys see on the episodes or on the game day videos there. So yeah, if you see me there, that's what's going on. And I'm just taking video of the game day experience. So yeah, shout out to you guys. And also, of course, always to the listeners for listening to our episodes, watching the episodes. All that is great, and it really helps us out. And we're going to start putting up more YouTube shorts, by the way, on our YouTube page, which will be more of our funny, random moments that we have here on the podcast. So if you guys want to go back and listen to Jared getting sent straight to AARP after Rian's comment, a middle school comment there, then go and check that one out. But we're going to be posting more of those just to get a good laugh out of everyone when we have these funny moments here to share. So check it out. Again, that's on the YouTube on the Shorts tab on there. And also on Instagram, of course, because we'll share those on both places. So
one last gloss of gratitude from me, and that is all the work that Rian puts in for the match highlights and the previews, as well as Tuesday freaking trivia, that even though I read his match recaps and I still screw it up and I can never get it right, and I could cheat. I could look at the answers and then go back in and fill them in, but I usually just go in raw. So thank you so much. I love Tuesday trivia. Now, there's a game on Tuesday night, so I don't know if we're doing Tuesday trivia or not. But I queued up a possible, and you have to have read something. You'll have to have read the match review that he just did, the recap. If he puts that question out there, I don't know if that's going to be in it, but I want it to be in there because if you don't read his match recaps, you can't get some of the answers.
Yeah, that's true. One more reason to go check out sacsoccerpod.com and read all his match recaps. And also another bonus colossal gratitude out to everyone who's actually read his blog posts. The other day offline, we were looking at the statistics for that, and there's a lot of people that have been reading his blogs just this year, let alone, right, just in general. So shout out to all you who like read them. If you want to, it'd be great if you left a comment too, by the way. That's cool if you guys want to join in on like discussion there, because we do have a comment box for every blog there as an option. So no pressure, but if you guys want to leave a comment there, you can do so at soccerpod.com on the blog site. So yeah. All right. Any last final parting words, Hill, before we say have a good morning, good night, and see you if you're going to the game in less than 48 hours, or have your TV ready if you're going to watch on TV?
Hey, let's make it Angry Birds on Tuesday night. Everybody has to be there. Go Republic.
Yeah. Actually, shout out to Vic Golfs 21. He was our 100 subscriber. He made a comment on Instagram. So shout out to him. Thank you for that. Nice. As for me, keep an eye on the site. Go read the stats recap that's up there. Go read the match recap. Go read my upcoming preview for Minnesota that should be up there by the time this is posted. And go Republic.
Everybody get out there Tuesday night. Let's give Minnesota a big ol' whoop. If you live in the Midwest, y'all know what I mean by that. And go Republic.
One more reminder, if you haven't bought your tickets for Tuesday's match and you're planning on attending, game start time is at 7 p.m. Buy those soon, because again, they will probably sell out by the time that the game happens a few hours before. You might not be able to find a ticket there. And also, if you're attending, they will be having $5 craft beers until the 30th minute. So just keep that in mind until the 30th minute. So if you want to get those beers, get them before the game so you don't miss out on the game itself. But you do have until the 30th. So shout out to a team, by the way, for doing a promotion to a game where we know people are going to attend anyway, right? It's not like it's like a league midweek game, So shout out to them for putting that promotion out there. All right. With that being said, y'all, thank you so much for watching or listening to this podcast. And you'll hear us next week here on Stay the Republic podcast.
Cue the music.